Oliver, I believe that you are, like me, a man who likes to be early. Why do we get so happy that we're early?
On that level where I end up with like half an hour to kill, I do really relish that, because it's this little oasis of time to read the book I brought or just sort of sit and think. I think there is something else going on, which is that we enjoy being sort of passively, aggressively judgmental of the people who are keeping us waiting.
And why is it, do you think, that there are certain kinds of people who like to be early and certain kinds of people who don't? Is it to do with our upbringing? Is it in our DNA?
It seems easier to me to see what's going on with someone who is always late. They are trying to sort of control the situation, or they're trying to exert control over other people, make them wait. They want to be the centre of attention because everyone's waiting when they make an entrance. Those of us who are chronically early instead of late have the kind of opposite situation, that we're sort of worried that we need to please everybody else.
With me coming from Barnsley, where everybody always had to clock on or make sure they got to work on time. My dad was in the Navy for 21 years, so he was a man who was ruled by the clock. And so maybe I've always been surrounded by that idea that punctuality is the friend and lateness is the enemy.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see there's a sort of a privilege argument to be made here, isn't there? That if you come from a background where you are taught from a very early age that you basically own the world and can do whatever you like and the world does your bidding and you don't have to follow orders or disciplined organisation of time, yeah, you're going to be much more willing to let people wait because you have that sort of bone-deep confidence that they ought to. Yeah.
Whereas somebody like me, I feel that if I've got to be early because I'm kind of letting my dad down in his naval uniform.
There are things going back way into our childhoods or generations before that create a sort of anxiety to be on time, or alternatively, yeah, you're making some point about your place and your family's place at the top of the pyramid in not needing to be punctual and on time.
When people are late and I'm early, I can't help being a bit irritated with them, and I wish I wasn't.
I think it does seem hard to justify being cross with someone who shows up for a 3 p.m. appointment at 3 p.m. because you were there at 2:30.
I think that's my problem. I've got this kind of terrible early man's arrogance.
It's a French proverb that translates as to understand everything is to pardon everything. If you can, for one moment, see why someone is always 15 minutes late, I mean, even if it is because they want to make a grand entrance, there's something a little bit poignant about the fact that they feel that need and that they're not okay with themselves unless they are feeling that they're getting that attention. You can empathise, I think, because I don't think anyone is late or early or on time for sort of completely irrational, insane reasons. They're always trying to make themselves feel better in one way or another because it's all that we're engaged in all the time in life, trying to feel okay about ourselves. I'm kind of intrigued by this idea that you think you're stealing time by being early, because someone else could come along and say, you've clearly got too much of it on your hands. But I think that speaks to a thing that is really a big problem in our culture now, which is that being too busy and overwhelmed and not having time, and as a consequence running late, has become a kind of badge of honour. And the person who has the spare time in their schedule to saunter along early must be less important, must be less valuable, doing something less meaningful with their lives because they have this time.